What's good? Half-Blind back with another College Football 25 video, and today we're going to be going over coverage shells. Now, this is something that's new to College Football 25, but also new to Madden as well, and it will be in Madden 25, so this is worth checking out if you're checking out that game as well. This is going to be kind of a guide to it. We're going to go into some simpler things. We're going to show some formations, and also one important thing is you can't activate it from every play menu, so we're going to discuss that as well. But before we jump into that, guys could, and this video helps you, please like, comment, and subscribe because it's helping out the channel a ton. We're growing a lot quickly, and so I appreciate all of you who have watched and all of you who are coming back to watch. But let's jump into the video. This is an important note. As I just mentioned, you can only get to this coverage shell from certain screens. So here it's in the formation screen, you can see it there, but then you don't actually get this when you look a little further into concept and when you look into play type and favorites and recent and even coach suggestions. This coverage shell is not there, so if you're looking for that feature, that's where it is. You want to go into formations, and it's only in certain formations as well, so you have to kind of look at which formations there are. Certain formations have a lot of different shells, and certain formations just only have a couple. I would advise testing it out in practice mode like we are here so that you can actually see what's out there, what shells you can switch into, which formations it's for, and you won't get a delay of game just messing around with it. You can see right here we're in KU's 4-6 formation, but it is not down there at the bottom. So we are in the right tab, but it's not down there at the bottom because 4-6 does not have any shells for it. But then if you look back at where we're at on 3-4 and nickel, dime, things like that, you will actually have it. Now we're going to discuss what a coverage shell is. So basically, it's disguising a coverage. That's the easiest way to think about it. You can see at the bottom I have cover 2 selected for my shell. But then when I select my play, I'm going to select that cover 4 play that we have up on the screen there, which is going to actually look like a cover 2 before the snap, but it's going to adjust. When you see the play art, you're going to see that everybody's going to fall back into the cover 4. You can see here we're aligned like cover 2 with the 2 high safeties split apart, but then when you actually look at the play art, we've got the 4 deep zones like you would in a cover 4. The entire point of this is to try to confuse the offensive player or your other guy you're going against, basically. And apparently this does work against the CPU, just FYI. But basically, if you're looking at something like this, you're wanting them to think, okay, maybe we can hit a corner route and maybe that'll get open against the cover 2. And then they don't realize that that guy's going to drop back into a deep zone on those outside corners. So that's the point of it, is to try to confuse who you're up and going against. I will say though, and I'm going to get into this here in just a second, but I will say some are better than others in terms of your guys getting in place. So I'm going to show it, but what I was noticing is it does seem like it takes a while when you've got your guys playing, looking at those outside cornerbacks where they are way up front, like you would be in a cover 2, but then they're having to go way to the back. You do have to watch that a little bit, especially if somebody notices you're doing it and they're going to throw a streak on it. Your guy might not get back in time. We'll go over that in just a second, but I wanted to point that out while we're looking at the play art, that they sometimes have a long ways to go back when you have them out of position in the shell, and then they go back into where they're going to be in the deep zone. That can be a problem sometimes, so be careful what you're shifting into. To demonstrate what I'm talking about here, I'm going to pick cover 1 man, and as you can see in the shell, I have the shell set up to cover 0. What cover 0 is going to look like is you're going to have everybody within 10 yards. So you're basically wanting to simulate that you're going to blitz, but then you're wanting to drop back into man. Now in this situation, I picked all goes, so they're all streaks, and it's going to beat it, and you're going to see why. Rolling the play, you can see everybody starts out within 10 yards of the line of scrimmage, but then the outside receiver beats our guy. He does not backpedal very fast and does not turn his hips very fast. That is part of the issue. Even though he is supposed to be in man, he does not backpedal very fast. He gets beat again, same place, same play. Peter's going to do it for the 3rd time in a row here, and I'm just letting them play on Heisman and letting them make their reads and just setting up my defense. You can practice like this if you want. If you don't have anybody to lab against, you can call a play and then see how your play stacks up against it with your shell. Obviously, the computer is just having a field day on me, and your opponent probably will too if you do the same thing when they're calling streaks. So it's really situational. You've got to make sure you're calling the right thing for the right situation. For example, if they're going deep on you, you don't want to be calling cover 0 because that puts everybody up in the box. And if they're going short or they're doing a lot of drag routes or a lot of flat routes, you don't want to be calling something with a deep back coverage like a cover 4, cover 6, and then having your guys come up. I would rather that than you having everybody play up and then go back. I think that's a little better because at least if you're having everybody come up, you got a better chance of only giving up maybe 10 or so yards, but it still probably won't be as effective as it should be. So now let's talk about a situation where it's successful. So you can see here I have a cover 2 shell on, but I have it set to cover 4 quarters is what I'm going to pick, and I have the offense running streaks. So that's going to be perfect for cover 4 quarters because they're going to run right into those deep zones. And the reason why I like this setup is because my guys are already going to be in a little better position starting out. They're going to be a little bit further back. You've already got the safety a little further back, so they don't have as far back to go into the deep zones. But it does look like cover 2, so it might make people think, okay, at least we might have the sidelines, or maybe, we'll have some different openings. It's at least confusing, but your guys are closer to being in the right position. Rolling the play, you can see it looks like cover 2 with the safeties 2 back, 15 yards off the line of scrimmage, but you see the play art showed cover 4 because it had the drops. Had I been usering the linebacker like I usually did and not doing a video, I would have probably been able to get in front and user that one. I think a lot of people would. And you can see here I'm going to roll it a couple more times and we get a lot of the same results. At the very minimum, they're getting short gains on this one. Even though I'm not using the linebacker still to cover the running back, we still managed to get a coverage sack because he gets stuck in the line. So it does work here. It's not as far back to go. I think that works a lot better. One final thing to look at here, I think you're only going to see this when you practice a lot, but you can see here I'm calling a cover 4 shell and calling cover 3, calling the cover 3 sky press, so the guys are going to be up a little higher. So when I say higher, I mean closer to the line of scrimmage. What you'll see here, and I didn't know this until I called it, until I ran it in practice, and it's going to be something you want to look at with your play art, but you want to make sure that your guys are not running into each other. Looking at your play art, you can kind of see it right here on the right side. Your middle linebacker is moving over to the right while your outside cornerback is backing up, and you see the lines cross. Now, if it was different timings, that wouldn't really matter. But when you can see here when I roll the play, that is actually, and this is something you'll notice in practice, but it might be hard to notice in a game, you'll see that it actually does cause a problem. Rolling the play, you can see they actually do run into each other, and if the quarterback had been smart, they would have taken advantage over the middle there with the tight end, and they would have gotten an easy touchdown. Here's a freeze frame of it. You can see with the circles that the tight end was open if the quarterback had made a right read, because you can see there that those two ran into each other, so they didn't get in a position. The quarterback made the wrong read and didn't throw it to the tight end, but he would have been wide open if he had just waited one more second. That's all I got for the video today. Hopefully this helps you guys out. I know one thing that was really confusing me was where the coverage shells were located, because I was looking at all the different places other than formation. So at the very least, I hope that at least helped some people find that, because I know for me that was confusing, because I knew it was a new feature of College Football 25, but I hadn't actually seen where it was at because it wasn't there on certain screens, especially if I was just going back to pick recents, or if I was just kind of being lazy and doing coach suggestions like I do sometimes. Yeah, it was not there. I couldn't find it. I went and found some Reddit posts that eventually got me there. So hopefully this video helps you guys find it a little easier. Hopefully it helps you out with some good and some bad to the coverage shells. I would say it's better to kind of align your coverage shells closer to what you're going to shift to, so your guys aren't having to move too far. I like my guys coming forward in the coverage shells, like towards the line of scrimmage rather than towards the back. But again, you can kind of do it either way. The point is to confuse people. You just want to make sure that your guys aren't running into each other like we showed. And it's going to take some practice, something that you want to get out there on the practice field and try out first before you do it a whole lot in the game. A lot of times I do end up liking the just default alignment, or even just doing like a base align. Really, you just got to play with what works for you and what works for your scheme. But hopefully this at least helps you understand what's out there and what you can do with it. And if you guys did like it, please like, comment, and subscribe. It's helping out a ton. Thank you guys so much for watching. I'm out. Peace.